this week? What stood out to you WrestleMania this week?
Man, this WrestleMania, again, I have to agree with you. I would be hard pressed to not put it in my top 5. I'm not in a spot to put them or rank them today, but it would absolutely be real darn close. If not top 5, right at like 6 or 7, easily in the top 10. I thought the build wasn't great. Oh no, that's a lie. See, as soon as I say something, I think it really was. The bloodline stuff was gold. Ray and Dom is gold. You know what? Real family drama sells. It will always hook me. Always has and always will. If going away from this WrestleMania, I can count 4 match of the year candidates that I put on my list for like the 3 Count Thursday end of the year match of the year list. We to our 5 top 10, 5 our top 5 matches of the year. I put 4 from WrestleMania alone on that list.
At least three.
The main Charlotte Rhea, I want to go back and watch. I put it on my list. In the moment, I wasn't really into it. I felt like the crowd was dead for the first half of that match, and then it really came alive at the end. The tag team match was almost perfect. I loved everything about it. Last year, all of us put the FTR versus Briscoes match, one of their 3 matches, on our top 2 or 3 lists. We held them in very high regard. I feel like this year, this match is going to be that caliber match. So it's crazy to see tag team wrestling kind of creeping up on some of these lists. I put Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre on the list. I thought that was a hard-hitting, hell of a fun Intercontinental Championship match. I think the sky is going to be the limit for Gunther. I really do. The WWE has to be seeing dollar signs with him.
Are you a little shocked that he got the win there? Because I thought what my prediction was that he'll lose the title because he'll be elevated to the title picture because of the world title picture rather, because we heard Roman's going to probably go away for some point within the next couple months. So you get the belt of Gunther, give it to Sheamus or whoever or Drew, and then elevate, Gunther. Are you surprised that they actually want Gunther to win?
I'm not. I'm not. I really think there's still legs on Gunther as IC champion. I think you can go back and look last year. Roman Reigns went away for about a month and a half last year after Mania, and nobody missed a beat. You can tell the story of the bloodline without Roman Reigns there. You have Heyman, who's a great storyteller, and then you can let the story really unfold with the Usos losing their championship and Solo Sikoa, and like you can tell that story, and Roman can have his days off, which is well earned. By the way, the guy has earned some time off. But I don't think you need to. Who's left? You can just run that story. I'm Roman Reigns. Who do I have left? Acknowledge me. I'm gonna take some time off. When you guys can find a competitor,
let me know.
Call me up. Right? That's simple. And people will shit all over it. They'll boo all over it. But he's a heel. You're supposed to.
Yeah, and Gunther, for the record, like he's the first guy probably since I've been watching the last 4 years that's actually made the IC title matter again.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like I've seen that title come and go between guys like Braun Strowman and Shinsuke Nakamura and some good guys, but it feels like it matters for the first time in years with Gunther with it on his waist. So I was actually pleasantly surprised he won the match because it means they care about both the title and elevating this guy, and maybe him having that title elevates it.
I think it does elevate it. I think a lot of times the championship makes the wrestler. Sometimes the wrestler elevates and makes the championship. I think Gunther is benefiting from being the champion, but I think he's elevating the championship as well to a really good spot. And then the main event, I can't speak highly enough of the main event. 7 stars, 8 stars, how many ever stars you want to give it. Cody versus Roman Reigns was an absolute home run. I love the finish.
I love the ending.
I loved everything about it. You are not going to hear one bit of criticism from Ryan. And I understand people can be upset. They can be upset that the Usos and Solo got involved. They can be all upset about that. But what has the story always been about? Family. Family's going to have family's back. And the end of it, Cody didn't have anybody.
Yep.
It's that simple.
No. So when Rumble happened in January, I was 99% sure Cody was going to win that match. And then every week leading to WrestleMania, that number dropped. It's like, this is way too easy for Roman just to lose. I mean, to me, my thing was, okay, so Roman, I can see Cody winning it, and I see it might make sense for him to win it. But then what? Like with Roman, like it felt too simple. It felt too simple and too obvious. And you know how it is in WWE, that obvious isn't always the way to go.
That's correct.
And that's why I was surprised. People were surprised by that.
I was shocked at how the outrage that Cody Rhodes didn't win, because the story with Cody was winning the championship, and then what? So Cody wins, and then what? He finally got what that he couldn't win. What's the story after that? He just defends it, and it's a lame duck championship.
Right, and not only that, let's be real here. He's been back a year, and I love Cody. It's not a knock on Cody.
So do I.
He's gonna be he will be a champion at some point. I believe
that. There's my thing.
But what is
I hope he brings back the belt.
Domingo, absolutely. That's my favorite.
I hope that it's been up there hoping if Cody wins, the belt comes back.
So here's the thing with Cody. So he's been back since last year WrestleMania.
Yep.
Okay. All he's fought is Seth Rollins. That is it. And then he went away for 7-8 months with the injury. Came back, won the Rumble, and then it's Roman. There's more to build.
There's so much more, and you can play the storyline with Dusty the entire way through the rest of this build. Dusty Rhodes, hard times, baby. Well, guess what Cody's going through right now? Hard times. He was going through hard times with the Usos and the Bloodline. Monday night, he went through hard times with Brock Lesnar. Nobody came out to save Cody. It's hard times. He's going through the adversity right now that's going to make that championship so much better. Whether it's not going to be Backlash, it's not going to be King and Queen of the Ring. I don't know if it's going to be SummerSlam.
Nope. I think
it could be next year at Mania. We could be talking Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 40.
What you saw on Raw on Monday, I think, after everything played out at WrestleMania with Roman winning the title, keeping the title rather, is that with Cody, there's money in the chase, number one. Now, throw guys at Cody that matter. Brock Lesnar, you know damn well matters. Because he will get to Brock Lesnar at some point. He will get to Brock Lesnar, then he'll throw somebody else at him at some point. And then,
which is why Omos didn't beat Brock Lesnar. Because if Omos beats Brock Lesnar doesn't mean as much.
Right.
When Cody knocks off Brock Lesnar.
Right, exactly.
Bingo.
Makes sense now. And it all makes sense now, a day later. Yep. Look, say you want about Vince, we heard Vince did the rewrites and stuff, whatever. But it makes sense right now based on the story. And like I said, I've my guys Mike and Joe were at Mania again for like 11th year in a row, minus the 2021. And Joe was texting us during the whole thing after the end of the match, and they actually did a reaction podcast on night 2 after, and Joe made the most sense more than anybody else I've heard post Mania. He is now at a point where he's a wrestling fan, like a casual fan again, and to the point where he's now surrendering himself to the story. Let the story write itself. Let it play out.
So yeah,
let it play out. Stop analyzing the story. Let's let it play out. I'm there.
Right.
I'm just letting the story come to me.
Let's clear the air. Vince McMahon is probably a piece of shit, and probably shouldn't be involved with the creative process of the WWE. Probably. It's not my place to say that though. And then the news that came out, it makes sense why he's still there. And then they had the interview where they want him part of the process going forward. Whatever. Not my company, not a shareholder. I don't have a freaking say in it. If I don't like it enough and I'm that offended to it, turn it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Just tune away.
You got a lot of other content out there you can watch. Trust me. A lot of other wrestling content you can watch. You have choices. Stop bitching about it. Right. I agree. 100%.
It's that simple, man.
Well, so, like I said, the takeaway for me, obviously this Mania is going to hold it well. I think the last 3 Manias, honestly, is top 10 material. I think the WWE right now is on a heater with Manias. Looking at last year, with Steve Austin, of course.
Sorry, I have all my I have the WrestleMania collection DVD over here. I was just looking over to see the color scheme and to realize which one they were.
Yeah, so you have the last three. I think you have Roman, stacking Daniel Bryan
Yep.
and Edge. Last year he beats Brock. And then I think all three of those cards are stacked cards. And as someone again who's watched every WrestleMania pretty much, you know, for 30 something, almost 40 years now, this is one thing they get right. The WWE has gotten WrestleMania correct. And going 2 nights also, especially too, genius. Smart.
I didn't like it at first.
I
I'm
didn't
coming
either.
around on it. I was at 35. I thought 35 was great. It was long. Um, I think you can look up through 35 and realize 4 of the last 5 were actually really good WrestleManias.
Mm-hmm.
With the outlier being the pandemic mania, and it's going to look awkward. It's always going to feel really weird to go back and rewatch that, but put yourself in those shoes 3 years ago when we just wanted something to take our mind off of the hell that was the world at that moment.
Yeah.
And the WWE delivered something very special. May not have been great, but very special.
It was, and actually in hindsight, not that bad either.
No,
It was pretty good actually.
I think you had the best way to write off the Undertaker with the Boneyard match.
Yeah.
The WWE's creative stroke was just on point for that WrestleMania, and
Yeah.
thank them for doing something that can make us just be a fan, if only for a little while, and kind of forget about the world outside just melting down around us.
Right. Couple of surprises for me at Mania. Not surprised Bianca won. I thought maybe they turn her heel this week, this year at Mania. But once I saw her come out with the dance quartet, it's like not tonight. Not happening tonight.
That ain't happening tonight. Nope.
Not happening tonight. No. I say, well, never mind. And I mean, there's still meat in the bone with Bianca. I do think at some point they got to turn her heel. Because it is getting a little stale now. I say someone who loves Bianca Belair, but it is getting a little stale. What else that stood out? I mean, I said the triple threat match you said with Gunther was fantastic. Theory over Cena. What'd you think?
On our podcast we got ourselves worked up that John Cena was going to win, and then on Sunday have an open challenge because there was only 6 announced matches,
right?
And Saturday had 7, so that John Cena open challenge match was going to be number 7, and then that's where we would get like a surprise Braun Breaker or a returning somebody. And so we hyped ourselves up thinking, oh, that's, or John Cena wins on Saturday and then has an open challenge on Monday, where you're more prone to get like call-ups and debuts, and maybe Jay White or somebody comes out and makes an answer. So we hyped up this whole situation where Cena has to win to lead into a debut of somebody. And, Austin Theory going over John Cena is a hell of an accomplishment for A-Town Down, man.
And it was done perfectly too. Like he can't beat Cena clean because
it looks fine.
Yeah, it's gotta be a little dirty, which is fine.
Yep.
I had a problem with it.
Speaking of dirty, I need to shout out to I don't know, maybe probably doesn't listen to the show, but I don't know. Bully Ray on Busted Open, talking about that main event, had the perfect question to anybody doubting the main event and saying like the main event shit on Cody Rhodes. His question was, how do you think Dusty would have booked the end of that match?
Probably the same way.
Probably the same exact way. Yep.
No, you're right.
And it's a perfect question. And I've not heard anybody defend that and say, well, Dusty would have had Cody go, because Dusty wouldn't have. Dusty's like, man, there's so much meat on this bone. The story's just getting started.
And Cody knows that too.
And Cody's smart to the business. That. Cody knows his time will come. Cody will be a WWE champion.
This is
absolutely.
If you think about it, this is kind of like Rock Cena. Like if you didn't believe that these guys will meet again at WrestleMania next year, which by the way, this match is a WrestleMania match. I mean, obviously the chemistry of these two guys are off the charts, so it works. We know that.
So good.
And you keep them away from each other for next year until WrestleMania next year. Remember Rock Cena 2 years in a row. Rock won the first one, and then Cena won the second one.
They literally told us it was once in a lifetime, and then ran it back the next year. and nobody gave a shit. They were like, "Thanks, we can do it again."
Yeah, and like I said, I think looking in hindsight, you throw a Brock to Cody gets through that. You can get a couple months out of that, which is cool because I love Brock Lesnar, and we got Brock around. Normally Brock takes his break around this time. He'll be hanging around for a little bit now.
Yep.
You throw another Seth Rollins match in the future for Cody, maybe
returning Randy Orton.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So you're bringing these guys in, building up Cody again, building up, breaking down, bringing up again, and to next year. And who knows?
Hard times for Cody to face.
And who knows where the bloodline by next year, Royal Rumble going into Mania, where are we able to bloodline? Are they fractured? Or there's more to tell.
Yep, it's so good.
I'm just saying, let the story play out.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Play. That's where I'm at as a fan right now. Is that I am now surrender myself to the story. Just tell me what the story want to tell me.
That's all you got to do.
Exactly. We did see though this week. WWE now officially. You want to call it a merger? I guess.
I think that's the word they're using, a merger
with Endeavor, which is a UFC led company. Basically, they're going to create one big super sports entertainment thingy, what do we call it, between WWE and UFC. Pretty much, Endeavor will be the majority shareholder of this company. He saw Vince on CNBC. I remember going to work, and at my job they play CNBC, and when I saw the merger went final, it's him and his stupid mustache, and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, I couldn't get it. I mean, I'm a little stunned that we knew it was going to happen at some point. I'm a little stunned though that Vince is actually okay with letting this company go in someone else's hands. I mean, but again, he is 78 years old. I get it, but it's just weird.
Yeah, man, you're. I mean, and I think a lot of people are looking at it like Vince McMahon's putting his company, like you said, in other people's hands. But in reality, he did that a long, long time ago when he started selling shares of his company.
Yeah.
That it was at that time, it was no longer the mom and pop operation. It wasn't the little bodega down the road. This was a publicly shared juggernaut. This was a giant corporation, and it's proven time and time again that it's probably too big to fail because it's a corporation, because it's publicly traded, because it's shared. I think Vince McMahon. I had it actually jotted down here because I did take notes. I was just kidding.
You
earlier.
Fake news.
I know, you liar.
Fake news.
Vince McMahon is the executive chairman of NewCo, which is, I think, so you have Endeavor and NewCo, is I think the companies that kind of bridge together. Ariel Emanuel is the CEO of both of them. Vince, a small spot underneath of them. You still have Dana White as the UFC president. You have Nick Khan as the WWE president, and then you have some other CFOs throughout the thing. So it's multi-layered. I'm not a businessman. I'm dumb to that stuff, but it seems like a really good deal. If you were a WWE shareholder, you probably made a little bit of money on the deal. Vince McMahon made a ton of money on the deal. I just hope things don't change. We heard Triple H kind of say to kick off Raw that, hey, we're here, things aren't changing. And then, to my opinion, it was one of the worst Raws of all time.
See, I got pushed back from people saying, when I said that was, I thought it was a great Raw, a good Raw, should I say? And people were saying, well, some people say it was hating on it, saying it was a terrible Raw. I know a couple of our friends, Big Jim, said it was okay, it wasn't bad, but given the history of Raw Manias, this is a letdown.
Yeah, and I feel like there was that one Raw after Mania that had like 7 different call-ups. I think it was the one like Enzo and Cass got called up. And maybe, I don't even know where that was, but it was a crazy experience. The crowd was so hot. They did the WWE Network 24 or whatever on like the Raw after Mania.
Yeah.
They did like some other documentary, something about that. I forget what it was. And then they kind of started advertising it like you got WrestleMania weekend, Friday, Saturday. Then you're looking at WrestleMania SmackDown now before, where you're going to put the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, maybe have a match that directly impacts WrestleMania. We'll call it WrestleMania SmackDown. Great. So now WrestleMania is a 3-day thing. Boom, boom, boom. Well, it's bookended then on the other end by Raw. So the WWE would be smart to lean into Raw after Mania and make it this big thing. When in reality, it was just a Raw. And it actually has been for 2 or 3 years. I don't recall the last 2 or 3 Raw after Manias being anything special. And I have always felt a little meh coming out of the last 3 Raw after Manias. This one was dog shit.
What bothered you about it?
It was a 3-hour recap of WrestleMania. It had a total of 33 minutes of professional wrestling.
Okay.
And so the surprise was a returning Riddle. That was the only surprise we got all night long. Not one call up, not one debut.
No.
Riddle. And I like Riddle. Riddle's my guy. I've worked with Riddle on the indies. No problem with Riddle. But that's a letdown.
So I watched the Hulu version, which is an hour and a half.
Smart.
If I do watch Raw, it's that version. I don't watch 3 hours. It's just too much for me.
And that also pisses me off because I carved time out to watch the whole damn show, which I rarely do.
Right.
And here I am like, oh
and
my God.
And you're reminded why you don't do that. And you're reminded why you don't do that. That's 3 hours you can't get back. I mean, obviously Brock turning heel was the highlight.
Sure.
Which was a great moment. I loved it. I think Brock heel better. I like Brock as a heel better as a face personally. Even though he's fun as a face.
He's a great face. He's a blast.
He's fun.
But Brock Lesnar should be an ass kicker.
Right.
And that's heel Brock Lesnar, right?
Yeah.
And the story that comes if you just had a stupid blow off tag team match, what's the story out of that? You don't get anything. Now the story continues with Roman Reigns. They walked away. They didn't want any part of this. And now Cody has his first adversary in his hard times journey to get back to the match he needs to get back to. It's so good.
Itself. Where do you stand on the whole like Vince and creative and everybody being worried now that he's involved again? That's the rumors now. He's back involved.
I don't think this Raw has anything to do with that. If Vince has been part of creative, Vince has been part of creative for a couple of weeks now, I feel, since he's kind of come back. We'll see. I do think Vince is a bit out of touch with some things. I don't know, man. I feel like the WWE hit a really good stride for the last 6, 7, 8 months. It would be a shame to see them flounder now a little bit. I mean, I don't think there's any competition. I think they were absolutely dominating Dynamite and AEW.
Yeah.
The numbers have proven it. And again, it's WrestleMania season. They should be putting on really good shows and giving people reason to tune in. But to lay that big of an egg immediately after Raw, I think it was the lowest rated Raw on Cage Match ever. And I don't know how many people are going to Cage Match to rate WWE shows. I'm on Cage Match a lot for commentary. I pull a lot of information. I can look at a lot of independent wrestlers like stats and things of that nature. So I use Cage Match a lot. The Raw after Mania, I think, had an average of like 0.88 out of 10. Like not even like a 1% favorable. It was rough. Yeah, 0.88 is the total rating.
I do think with the like you don't want to believe if you're an anti-Vince guy, Vince creative guy, and then you hear all the dirt sheets now the last couple of days now with people being largely frustrated. Supposedly Bailey was rooting off the show last minute on Monday. There's rumors about people wanting to possibly leave and ask for releases, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to believe, Ben, but I will say this much. I know Hunter's done a damn good job these last 8-9 months of creative. That I will say, and I hope Vince, if he's involved again, at least at least be involved with Hunter. At least work together with Hunter, because Hunter does have his finger on the pulse of today.
I agree.
And not only that, you can see the vibe too. You can sense there's a positive vibe across the entire universe too. Like you see him prior to the show, coming out and doing his whole open. The crowd loves him. Yep. That reverberates through the entire WWE universe, as they call it. And Vince doesn't have that.
No,
Vince is the old guy.
Vince is the old guy. I feel like he thinks he's still cool.
Yeah, and I appreciate Vince, man, what he's done for this company.
Hello, fellow young kids.
He gives
like the peace sign. You're like, nobody does that anymore. All right, let's go back to the home, Grandpa.
Oh man,
I have the matches here for Raw real quick. Do you remember any of the matches?
So I remember. Well, obviously, I remember Theory against Rey Mysterio.
9 minutes, Profits, 20 seconds.
Right, Profits and Uso. Not Uso. Profits versus KO and Sammy.
Longest match of the night, 12:55.
Right, good match away too, for the record.
That was okay.
Do we count the main event as a match?
Nope, not counted. Don't ever rank.
Okay. I mean, I watched the Hulu version, so
maybe the Omos
Elias match was like what, 2 minutes?
A minute 40.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
Bobby Lashley beat Mustafa Ali in 40 seconds.
I saw that on YouTube.
And then Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeated Damage Control in 7 minutes. They're now the number one contenders for the women's champion.
So Damage Control is done, I guess, at this point now.
I feel like they're going to be done.
Yeah. I don't know how that didn't work.
I don't either, man.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense how it doesn't work.
I mean, unless there's just no I don't know. There's no rubber on the tire anymore.
Especially with Bayley being how great she is. I don't know. I love Bayley.
So do I.
Top three female there, in my opinion.
For sure.
It's her, it's Bianca, it's and Asuka for me.
Oh, you're okay.
I love Asuka. She's awesome. So, all right, let's change pace here a little bit.